All right, hello everyone. Welcome to Helicon West. My name is Woody, the ambassador for Helicon West. It's wonderful to see you all. Thank you so much. As usual, we'll go through the preamble and then I'll introduce our featured readers and we'll get going. Helicon West is an uncensored public reading series. We host published authors and community writers to showcase all levels of skill and craft. We welcome open mic readers and we welcome donations to keep Helicon West going. You'll find a sign-up sheet and for the open mic and bookmarks with a QR code link for donations at the coffee station in the back. If you do get some coffee, please remember to use the lids so that we can keep our carpet as clean as possible. Helicon West humbly acknowledges that we are here on the territory of the northwestern band of the Shoshone Nation. We are grateful for our sponsors and partners, Sugar House Review, the Logan Library, the USU English Department, Cafe Ibis, and many community volunteers. For more information, interviews, and even more than that, visit heliconwest.wordpress.com. We have a whole bunch of different writing pieces from different authors, interviews with authors that I've read up here, and a bunch of different stuff. So it's a pretty fun read. But aside from that, I will go ahead and introduce our two featured readers. They are from the Bullpen, the creative writing club up at USU. First, we will hear from Abby and then Samantha. Abby graduates from USU next fall with a major in creative writing and a minor in equine science. She's excited to kick off her career as an editor and a horse trainer here in Logan. She's working on her debut novel and hopes to start querying by 2027. In her free time, she enjoys crocheting little animals and listening to video essays. Samantha is an English secondary education major graduating next month. She likes books, knitting, and caffeinated beverages. She has a whole mess of dogs and fish. And with that, please welcome our readers from the Bullpen.
Thanks guys for having us. I'm the president of Bullpen, and I've been president for the last 2 years now. I think this is my third poetry slam, poetry reading here, and it's been so fun. I'm not a poet, I'm a novelist. So the first time I was convinced to write poetry, I was like, I don't know, I felt bad because there wasn't very many people, and then I actually really enjoyed it. It's just a very different medium. It's kind of fun. This is like Samantha and I's both last Helicon West reading for Bullpen before we graduate, so it's a little fun time. I'm gonna read a couple poems. Let's see, we're gonna start with one. I wrote this one. It's about a lake that my family has gone camping at since my grandpa was a boy. His mom was part of a horseback riding club, and they would go out to the Uintas, to Hoop Lake, it's called, and go ride for a week in the summer. And then my mom grew up going, and they'd gone almost every year. We hadn't gone in a while, because COVID, and my grandparents were also 73. But this year we're going back, so I wrote a poem about some of the things that happened in Lake. I can count my life in singular summer weeks out in the dirt. We drink the water from home, sit on a rock as the sun kisses the lake, and trade places in the only bathroom. My head is heavy from the gritty gasoline and rocky trails, and a bloody nose saved by a 10-year-old toilet paper. The sudden chill on your face, holding the helmet with your feet on the ground. The cadence of cast iron and creamy potatoes calls us home. So that's that. And then this one is called The Trinity, I think is what I named it. The only Trinity I believe in are the round discs I wash down every morning, the water on my bedside table. Rationality in the bottle uncurls me from the fetal position, stills my shaking hands, and pulls me from the woodworks of my own mind. This one tastes like chalk, but it can't fix all of the too much in me, but it's a start. Sometimes I'm not too tired. The last little circle does its best to patch together the phone line between brain and body. Good luck to that, they don't speak well. Somewhere between breath and living, I decided I'd rather have static. It's not all that bad, the parking's decent. Sometimes I think the overachiever in me left in elementary school and traveled down to live in my nerves instead. I am here, she screams. Do not forget me. No rationality, just feeling, and the concerto begins a little less sharp than it could be. They changed my common sense to include a coupon. Pain with its edges filed down is a little easier to hold with these slick hands. It's not perfect, but I take what I can get from the CVS receipt. Store-bought is better than nothing, and my only homemade contribution is humanity. Let's see if that one go. Yeah, that one is awesome. Well, those are the poems that I wrote. Do you like them?
Of course, I click out of Google Docs because I'm like, I don't need that. Yeah, I do. Okay, I'm gonna read 2 poems for you. This first one is called Seasonal Grief. Winter smells like cigarettes and plywood. It sounds like a laugh cut off by a hacking cough that grows more violent by the day. It feels like the memory of a kind woman telling you she knows this will be her last Christmas, like begging whatever's listening that she's wrong. The memories feel like chasing the moon with the windows down at the end of summer. The wind is warmer than you expect. It tastes like smoke and ice cream. The fall smells like soil, decay, and flowers obscenely bright for the day. It sounds like stumbling through a eulogy you were never meant to read, like breathing through water and the frayed tissue in your pocket. You know you're my best friend, right? You know you're mine too? In the spring, a book about a child with cancer puts you on your bathroom floor, breathing on all fours, and praying it was all a bad dream. Winter is haunted, and it haunts me. A smoking ghost in a red housecoat popping up to kick my ass for writing a poem about how she's dead instead of doing something useful. Thank you. The second one is, I feel like you need some context. It had a title at one point, but now I just call it my, weird boat poem. It's about the Carpathia, which is the boat that rescued the Titanic when it was sinking. There's some, details about the Carpathia that I think makes it, really special. A lot of people don't know about that. It wasn't the closest. It shouldn't have been able to do what it did. It went much faster than it, reasonably, physically should have been able to. And because it went faster than it should have, it kind of broke itself a little bit, but it saved a lot of people that would have died. So I think that's cool, and I wrote a poem about it. Here it is. At night, I dream of the Carpathia, her engines glowing red hot in a frozen sea, as the salt spray of distant tears calls, all clicks and drags through the black sky like a choking siren. And ponder the difference between a boat and a body, warm skin, cold iron, a heart, an engine, pumping away at impossible rates towards some yet unseen tragedy. A soul, a ship, those infallible titans crumbling in the lonely night. We are all of us too small to go alone. Some untraceable voice, like a sudden shedding of light, speaks, saying there are things more important than dying. Push on. Carry forward the fear. Fly her apart. 17 knots full speed ahead as grace alone holds fast the bulkheads, to whatever end. At night, I dream of the Carpathia, her unsinkable spirit blazing like a flare in the blackness, rising to say, "Sister, I am coming for you." Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, that is all we have from the bullpen for this evening, so we're going to move over into our open mic portion of the evening. Joseph is grabbing the clipboard for me right this second. And our first 3 readers are going to be Jennifer, myself, and Mona. I'm going to put this back there, so please sign up. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Woody. Yeah. Gotta love following Jennifer's writing. It's always super fun. Luckily, what I'm gonna read, I actually wrote with her help. So, you know, we're working. This is the novel I started reading at our last event. I'm just gonna pick up where I left off, and if you're interested in hearing more about it, then you have to look at the YouTube video. Okay. When ready, the pair start down their, oop, I didn't start my timer. One moment. When ready, the pair start down their unmarked path. They have walked this route together for nearly a decade now, and they both know the way by heart. Their route takes advantage of the seasons. They should arrive at their next garden this afternoon, at the height of summer, when warm, dry breezes drive the briny fog away and sunshine pours over the land in waves. As sagebrush and pinyon pine give way to fern and live oak, Shu avoids stepping on plants or their roots where she can. Her cotton tunic reaches her knees and flows around her like water as she moves. She makes sure to pick any edible plants they encounter, placing them in their pack before continuing. To her, each part of the natural world, from plants and animals to twigs and rocks to the very spirits of wind, water, earth, and fire themselves, act as an integral piece of a divine puzzle. All deserve equal respect, for without any one piece, the picture remains incomplete. She would just as soon step on the roots of a tree as the toes of a child. Her footsteps sway here and there like a dancer as she weaves through her floral friends. The way her path meanders causes her to keep pace with the determined Shin, who stomps a straight line between each garden. Their pack slows his pace and makes them perfect travel companions. He insists on carrying everything to practice chivalry and strength training at once. He's learned her elven customs his entire life, but he knows they only account for half his story. Shu shares, but does not force her beliefs, hoping instead for Shin to forge his own path. They tread on in relative silence, aside from the gentle wind and Shu's humming, until midday. The sun swelters down on them from directly above when they stop for a short water break. Shin sets their pack down and wipes his brow before retrieving a water skin and handing it to Shu. The boy looks around, soaking in the environment much as Shu did during her meditation. They stand atop a dusty hill surrounded by trees, lavender, and rosemary. The fragrant herbs soothe Shin's senses and inform him they're approaching their destination. Far to the east, a great wall looms on the horizon. Shin gazes often at the monumental structure running the length of Kresh's eastern border. This 200-foot-high barrier of stone has no gate and prevents almost all passage between the two lands. It runs south from Kresh's northern coast until it joins an impassable range of colossal mountains called the Crest of the Realms. On occasion, Shin notices men slowly descending the wall using a complicated system of ropes. Having never seen the other side, he can't help but wonder if the massive structure keeps something out or in. The wild men coming from the other side wear tattered clothes and carry violence in their hearts and knives in their hands. Shin and Shu have never encountered one without having to flee. The worst of them form small settlements, clans that value power above all and prey on any who wanders too close. The two elves' rare handful of encounters with these settlements have left their mark. Shin has seen women traded like cattle and feeble children discarded to the wilderness. The chiefs of these villages ever seek to expand their territories. Chieftainship falls typically to the strongest by attrition. They change faster than the tides as one man falls to another's ambition. This culture reinforces Shin and Shu's constant wandering as they evade the clans and their ever-changing boundaries of their lands. Kresha only takes up a small portion of its continent, yet the savage nature of its people prevents most from setting foot there. Horrific legends of ferocious Kreshan warriors keep even the most enterprising adventurers away, creating an ideal place to go unnoticed by the world for ages at a time. Despite the danger, Shin loves this country. He's grown up here and calls it home. As Shu teaches, he lives as one with the land, making sure to remain grateful for the life he's received. Still, as he looks north from the dusty hill, past the rocky terrain towards the vast seas beyond, he realizes another difference between himself and Shu. The elven woman did not grow up in Kresha. In fact, she only came here after Shin's birth. Her home, the land of all elves, lies far across the sea on a continent named Ustraria. Elves have lived there since the beginning of time. She tells him stories, but he knows nothing more. His home will never be her home. Mother, he asks, why did you leave Australia? After a few chugs of water, Shu releases a satisfied gasp and wipes her mouth. She hands the skin to Shin before answering, you silly boy, you know the answer to that? Well, yes, he says, because you had me and there was a war coming. You wanted to start fresh. He drinks some as well, then stows the water skin in their pack. The two resume their march before he asks, but I mean, the war must have ended by now, right? I doubt it very much, she says. Elves live long lives. Wars with elves on both sides seem to go on for entire ages of men. Well, that's stupid, Shin answers. When I'm older and stronger, we'll go back and help them see the pointlessness of things like that. She smiles broadly at the boy, but her eyes betray her doubt. Very well, she says, as you wish, but you too will live a long life, longer than any human by far. You have many years to grow strong. Promise me patience in this, and I'll tell you a story of my home. Fair? Shin smiles back. Fair enough. Shu's tales feature mystical beasts, magic spells that contain the elements, ancient kingdoms, and beings long forgotten. Shin cherishes them, and his father's sword above all things. Tiny clouds of dust swirl in their wake as they walk. The city of my birth was named Silvaluna, Shu begins, surrounded by a forest so dense sunlight never pierced its canopy, and located below mountains of ebony stone, Silvaluna displayed the height of elven ingenuity. But without sunlight, how did plants grow, Shin asked. They didn't. The ground beneath the canopy of driftwood forest lay bare for centuries. No grass, no bushes, just soil and tall, tall trunks. Shin's eyes widen as his imagination runs wild. Shu leaves into it, watching with a mixture of love and pride. Before long, he looks over, prompting her to continue the story. The wind blows gently above them, carrying a pair of doves toward the sea. Shin and Shu follow in their wake. As you know, Shu says, elves live as one with the land. Some wandered, like we do now, but others made permanent homes. When I was your age, we wandered a bit less. Within our bulwark of trees, the canopy opened to the sky, and the city shined in the sun like a jewel. For several decades, we stayed there in mighty Silvaluna. Huge buildings sprung from mountain stone as elves older than recorded history spun their magic. They never carved by hand or with tools. They connected their own spirits with that of the mountain and the rocks and shifted them to meet their needs. The buildings, infused with their architect's magic, neither aged nor decayed. Cobbled streets lined with greenery of all kinds, extravagant statues honoring our ancestors, and the elemental spirits who guided them, works that defy description. No one could match their stonecraft. And I'll stop there.
Hello. I read this poem last time, but I reworked it, and so I'm reading it this time.
All right. Sounds good.
Please fix my broken kidneys. I need to filter out the poison and the pain. Please fix my broken heart. I have so much loving left to do. Please fix my broken lungs. I need to breathe life into the world. Please fix me as I fix myself.
All right, our next three readers will be Pam, Jan, and Katie.
Hi. My story is a story about my grandmother. I've titled it "Memories from the Chocolate Kitchen," my tribute to Grandma Fairbanks. A man once said to me, "You are just trying to emulate your grandmother." He said it to be mean. He spoke the words as if it were wrong to want to duplicate the kindness, warmth, and love that my grandmother gave to others. She was the epitome of patience to me. I grew up very close to her and saw the good things that she did, the happiness she seemed to always wear in her soft smile, and the caring that showed in her eyes. This man was right. I did want to be like her, but I did not want to be her or bring her back. She had just passed away a couple of months before he said this to me. I just wanted to carry on her love like her daughters carry on her chocolate recipes. It's not a bad thing, it's a tribute. My grandmother represents several things to me in my life. She and I were very close, though she had several grandchildren, 56. I was number 23 in the list of 26. But she loved all of us. My family lived with these paternal grandparents while our home was being built several miles away. I would sneak down from the upstairs bedroom where I was supposed to be having an afternoon nap, and I would enter the basement where she was teaching kindergarten. I was allowed to stay as I did whatever the class was doing. They used wonderful paints and crayons and sang songs together. It was huge fun for me. I was 3 at the time, and I enjoyed being part of this kindergarten class. When my mom would realize I was no longer upstairs taking a nap, she would search the house for me and try to get me to come back upstairs. Grandma would tell her, "Never mind, she's fine, let her stay." I was being good, wasn't any problem. A room full of kids, what's one more? She was always patient with children. One summer when we came to visit my grandparents, none of the other cousins my age was there, and I had no one to play with. Grandma saw that I was bored and asked me if I would like to learn how to crochet. She was very talented at needlework, and I was keen to learn this talent. She took me to the Mercantile downtown so I could buy my own yarn and crochet hook. Then we walked back home to start. With Grandma's patience, I learned to crochet, and within the week I was making up my own patterns and making Barbie clothes. To this day, I still enjoy crocheting because of her. It might have been the fact that some of my earliest memories are of staying at her house in Canada. It might be that we lived with her for several months, and then we lived only 14 miles away, so we could visit often. It could be that my other grandmother was the exact opposite. She was loud, she smoked, drank coffee, drank alcohol. She swore and had been married more than once. Her dresses showed her knees, and her feet often wore high-heeled shoes. She had a loud laugh, and it sometimes scared us kids. We were used to Grandma Fairbanks, who was quiet and gentle and wore modest dresses and grandmother's shoes. She always had a hanky in her pocket or her purse, and most of them had her initials embroidered on them. She walked slow and laughed with a smile in a quiet way. Loudness just wasn't accepted in her house, but she always had a hug for you. Swearing and any sort of unkind language was not allowed. The only time she yelled was to wake up our grandpa for dinner. "Harry!" It might have been the way you felt part of a big family and loved by all of them. It might have been the fun we had at family gatherings and Dominion Day celebrations, complete with her homemade root beer. Or looking through her old magazines to find paper dolls and fun games. It might have been the homemade chocolates that she made in her kitchen. Madge's Sweet 16 chocolates were the favorites of all her family and most of the town of Raymond. They were enjoyed at weddings and on special occasions, but if you were a granddaughter visiting for the week and you knew which of the 3 refrigerators in her kitchen had the chocolates, you could snitch one whenever you wanted. Grandma must have known we were snitching them and couldn't resist, because the only scolding we ever got was to tell us not to ruin our dinner. I remember her candy with fond memories. There are few candies today that compare. Grandma added lots of love to hers. That's what made hers so good. I've dared myself to try her recipes. Chocolates, marshmallows, caramels, nougats. I've been baking her cookies for years, but the candy recipes were trickier. For one thing, they were in metric, and for another, there were a dash of this and a pinch of that. Grandma probably knew these recipes by heart. She didn't need to follow them, but I was new to this, and I It took me a little bit to try it for the first time, but now I've been trying her recipes for 20 years, and I'm having some success. If it's emulating her, I feel like I'm doing a good job. She'd be proud. She'd see it as a tribute. Thank you.
Hi. This one is called Forgiveness. Thank you. I had kind of a health scare a few weeks ago. It turned out to be nothing, but I had worked myself into a frenzy and was convinced I would die within 6 months. Reading things on the internet can do that to you, even if the source is somewhat reputable, like WebMD and Johns Hopkins. Anyway, I went for about 7 days convinced I had this life-ending ailment. It consumed me. It is amazing how your thought process works when you are convinced your days are numbered. For instance, I was mad at myself for paying $800 last month to my dentist for work that would no longer be relevant. My teeth will die along with me. I thought twice about renewing my subscription to the local newspaper. I might be the only living person actually subscribing to it these days anyway. I curtailed purchasing my discount books online, figuring I will never have time to read them all before I bite the dust. The current stack on my nightstand is high enough as it is to get me through this developing disease. I shared my thoughts and fears with my daughter, who immediately poo-pooed it, but she didn't realize I had 7 of the 8 symptoms of this horrible disease. I just knew I was doomed. As fate would have it, my every 3-month appointment with my oncologist was coming up. The office had called to request that I get blood work done beforehand. This was new, but I felt how fortunate, because then the doctor could see what we're dealing with in regards to my death-inducing ailment. When I met with the doctor and expressed my fears, he almost laughed out loud. He indicated that if indeed I was suffering from what I thought I was suffering from, I would be experiencing a whole lot of serious symptoms that I obviously was not experiencing. But I insisted I'm suffering from X, Y, and Z and those other things. He assured me that my blood work was good and that I did not have the issue I was convinced I had. It would have shown up in my blood work if I did. Ooh, I was relieved, to put it mildly. So I have decided to forgive my body. I forgive my body for having sensitive skin, bad eyesight, and ugly feet. I forgive my body for making me the tallest person in my 5th grade class and then stopping my height growth. So instead of thinking myself as I always had as a tall person, I had to readjust my thinking to the fact that I was in actuality quite short. I forgive my body for making me suffer with severe acne all through my teenage years and later on rosacea permanently. I forgive my body for keeping me extremely flat-chested until childbirth in my late 20s, when I became quite busty and then stayed busty. Again, changing my perception of my body was rough. I forgive my body for a berserk thyroid that had to be radiated treated after my 2nd pregnancy and then later on completely removed when it started to produce nodules. I forgive my body for an aroma on my foot that provided me with my first ever operation at age 40. I forgive my body for the very scary uterine cancer diagnosis at age 58 that resulted in removal of ovaries, fallopian tubes, and uterus. I forgive my body for the cruel middle-of-the-night visit to the emergency room during COVID when I had to have my gallbladder removed. I forgive my body for the additional scary diagnosis of breast cancer and resulting bilateral mastectomy, not to mention the mutilated aftermath and indignity of that. I am once again flat-chested. And now I forgive my body for tricking me into thinking I was going to die in the next 6 months, when it was all for naught. What a weird sense of humor my body has. I vow to take better care of my body. Thank you.
Hello, Katie Robinson. This one is called Candle. How do you hold on to truth when you don't know what it is? How do I know if it is whatever you want, context dependent? The endless possibilities feel like a plague rather than a rebirth. Lack, a rhythm born from what's not said, susceptible to frustration, especially over obstacles we can't control, hop through shadows, skips through light, a whispered sound in silence loud, head deep and bowed. Faith is a thing, like a candle, a hope you might say. Somewhere between you are making choices, maybe Sophia is challenging me. Decide if a risk is necessary, allow the opening of the Janus doors, view the contents of the chamber. Rituals, set your attention, light the candle and relax. Write it down, insights, possibilities, and reflections. Lamb, egg, fish, fire. Immortal dream maker, table, bed, altar. Awake but not awake, aware but not aware. Navigate the fanatical faith. Adjust the head. Reason within your power, keep upright, compile insights from Africa. Detect, decide, detach, foresee, forgive, forge. Refocus, reframe, free, probability clouds. Understandize, intuition, flow, intelligence, empathy, spirituality. Power, mind, and silence, freeform mind island. Full of copper, electric thoughts. Finally, the future. Develop discernment there, develop discernment across the board. Don't just follow sociality, citizens, not fractured into agreement, awake when awake, asleep when asleep. Mistakes are feedback that help us feel what life feels like. Inspired by Chat Greg PT in portions. And then this one is one I wrote on the plane to and from New York City, the greatest city in the world. The lotus. Dove, Holy Spirit, lotus. I see a wolf in the peacefulness of flowers. The jewel is in there too, half burned, half consumed, half full, half ready to bloom, an eternal ashen rose. Flower of life, and I a follower of life. What do I need to get closer to the light, the right white? Coastal bringer of watering plants, echoes of the sea. Reflection in the river, keep going about, and in the soul, water did see who gives their souls to God. The beauty of it all bowing to the earth in the sun. The yellow disk above descends to frame loving healing. Within the pillars of eternity, the mirages dismantle themselves, let go to hold on. That is the answer to those who give their souls to God. The strength of my house in and amongst the cities of the dead, a bridge of fate to cross over into. Master of the past, present, or future. Anything that happens is our destiny. I will accept it at the hands of my people. My life and goodness will unite. Prepare for the goodness which is to come, as the good arises with the living. Truly joy comes in the morning after forgetfulness, that the element should not melt with fervent heat. Awakening step by loving step, the movement begins again. And finally, restfulness, so I may begin again. I see again and saw the shadows and the sun before, first and last, and now I know the light and everything in between. This divine gift, a ray of hope in the darkest nights, his and hers to finish within you. Royal generations shall come forth from you, Lotus. Whew. And this one is Tails. Stars who stand on the path of the moon in the far northern sky mixed with blue, a cool touch, and the orange torch, the brightest of which was the coppery tail of the little bear. Not the wolf or the dog, the dimmer and smaller of the two guardians with the green flames of Draco looped all around. This trail, or train of light, high rising like the Pleiades. Never moving was therefore more beloved of the silvery Ursa. When I was lost, the world rotating, unintended gap, the first star was therefore testing me at the gates of the north. Rethink your choices, time is limited, but defines our mortal journey. It whispered, God is healing you. To cut the darkness tread. The heart will seep through, perhaps it just needs to drain through the eye, like the ladle, through the dips and twists and turns to drown the wound away. Receiving light and life, by bringing forth new beginnings, by guiding you past the ending of all the endings, by always reaching and pointing towards and for true north. And then I'll leave that there. Thank you.
All right, the final three people signed up to read are Allie Moss, Cody Powell, and Emily. But if you want to sign up, you still can. So do it.
Hello, I'm Allie, and this is a series of haikus I made inspired by moths. At night, moths flutter, seek another's company or something to eat. The starlight guides them, the glow a steady reference, their backs to the moon. Lantern light glimmers, we are trapped till death or dawn, flying in circles. Thought you were the moon, I trusted you to guide me when robbed of shelter. You burned my whole world, left me with ashes and scorn. This moth girl loved you.
Hello, my name is Cody. I'll be reading a flash nonfiction piece, and it's titled Viral and Contagious. As a child, my mother was familiar with diseases. If I felt sick, she understood when to take me to the doctor and when to tell me I just needed to get over it. I trusted her to know what was viral. Yet last Thanksgiving, when she announced that she is going viral on TikTok, I couldn't hide my shock. It's true, she told my family. I've got 47 followers. I'm doing really well. To prove it, she pulled out her phone, and my entire family gathered around to see my influencer mother. My favorite video before this got 31 views. It's so funny. We exchanged oohs and ahs when she clicked play. The video showed her in a Wendy's drive-thru, pointing at a sign advertising their new hot sauce. We've got the drip, it read in large letters. Oh my God, my mother said in the video, laughing hysterically. The drip is what we used to call gonorrhea. Wendy's has gonorrhea. This is definitely something my mother would say. A few months before this, she made beef jerky for my family, and since she cut the jerky into circles, she called them circle jerks. I'm now surprised this did not make its way onto her TikTok. After her and her drip, she scrolled to the next video. This video is my best. It got 70 views. It's me and my snatchels. A snatchel is a bag my mom crocheted. In the video, she was mid-creation with the bag in her lap. I was looking at this, and I was wondering what it was reminding me of, the video went. And then it hit me. This satchel looks like a vagina. I made a vagina snatchel. I think I'll call it a snatchel. With that, she turned the snatchel and its zipper opening vertical. She was not wrong about the snatchel. That video even got 3 comments, my mom went on. Well, 2 comments. I had to delete one. It said, old people are the greatest. I got mad. She looked real proud of herself until my brother Colton pulled out his phone. That's nothing. One of my posts got 700 views. He showed us a video of him and his girlfriends doing some sort of bet. Isn't it great? That's stupid, my mom said. Where's the joke? It was a bet. Well, my vagina snatchel is funnier. You know, piped in one of my cousins, I bet if you put it on Instagram, you do even better. Oh no, my mom said, violently shaking her head. I don't use Instagram. They're problematic. There's so many things I can't like anymore, it's traumatic. With that, she turned to me and Colton. I bet you guys could help. You should follow me, leave comments, share it with your friends, start a hashtag or something. Get me popular. Totally, I said. I'm thinking hashtag I love my mom's vagina snatchel. Obviously not that, but something. I want to be famous. The conversation left me amazed. I didn't know how ambitious she was, and I'd never understood her better. So this is where my viral urge came from. Here was patient 0. Sure, getting famous writing essays was a bit different than going viral, but at the end of the day, it's all about stardom. In my family, at least, she's trending. At Thanksgiving dinner, the topic of weaving looms somehow came up. My mother mentioned offhandedly that she was making one to make rugs. Oh wow, my younger cousin said. You can make a huge snatchel on that. For sure, said my aunt. A great, big, gaping snatchel. I really hope we make it. We both already got our inspiration. I have her, and she has vagina snatchel. Thank you.
Hey guys, I don't know, can you hear me? Yes. Okay, I'm gonna read a couple of poems. I do have to talk about sexism, so if that bothers anyone. The door's there. Not in a bad way. Just a trigger warning. I don't know. Okay, this one is called Conversations Overheard in a Coffee Shop. Time is ignored in a coffee shop. All at once, everyone late and on time. But that's okay. Here, everything is left to brew. Conversation, condensation. Old women with teeth held in by glue, teens bleeding out I love yous. Newlyweds recount their I do's. That's when the caffeine begins to stimulate and young women talk on how to masturbate. Their husbands believe a woman's pleasure must remain subdued. Businessmen rush to meet their bust by 10, their whole life worth less than a dime. Old men fight over politics, their woke, liberal grandchildren don't even know the half of it. Yet, their lives are dictated by a paycheck. Black, brown, white, here, everything is left to brew. My first one. This next one's kind of, I have a weird hyperfixation on World War II history, and so if y'all know about Eva Braun and Hitler, that's what this is about. So it's called Life in a Cyanide Capsule. I wish they saw you the way I do. All your brains, all your brawn. They say you killed the Jew. Many years I tried in strife, you rewarded me with the term wife. If death is a great equalizer, does that make 40 forever with you? A twisted Romeo, I, your broken Juliet. Darling, what will you say when you meet your precious Jew? Okay, I have one more. The story behind this one's kind of funny. I was asked to write, I believe it's like a phrastic, that's probably the wrong term. I was asked to write a poem about what I saw spirituality as, and I never really grew up being religious, and I've never really practiced it. And so I kind of just was like wanting to write a snarky piece, and the professor is like, okay, lean into that sex. So this is what that one is. There's one that's talking about where I do feel those, and the second part is like when I've been told I should be feel it, but I don't. So it's called Informal Spiritualism. I feel you in the trees, your breath, a breeze, a supplementary blood flow from my veins. I can feel you within the tingling sensations of skin, thrusting slowly within the most delectable sin. I feel you in the cup of coffee I brew, ironically bitter with the blood of you. I feel you, that ugly feeling I get looking in the mirror. You make it disappear. I feel you thick as oxygen. I feel you in my mother's grin, something my father never did. I feel you in the words written by men, Philip Larkin, a grumpy white man. I feel you in my own moments of spirituality. Where are you in these hollowed halls? Where are you as I bend before your shrine? Should I not feel divine? Where are you within the wine left to brew, symbolic of the blood they drew? Where are you within this bread I eat? All I taste is wheat. Where are you when their words crucified me? Oh great God, you fail to inspire me. Thank you.
We have two more readers slated, and that is it for the evening. Sean, and then Star.
Thank you. Okay, will you turn the recording off for this one?
Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. How lovely this was. Thank you for your exquisite readings. I'm here to recap. The novel, the kidney failure, the heart-stopping crash, which is a mother's greatest dread, the tribute to grandmothers, the life-threatening illness that looms in the mind, candle, ritual, the hurt will seep through, haikus of moths, the viral mom, left to brew in a cyanide capsule, the house on the corner, beloved teacher, and then our two wonderful featured readers. Thank you, Abby and Samantha, for your words. They're inspiring, and I've borrowed some of them to read back to you. Counting a life, singular, bloody, cast iron cold, patching the phone line, brain to body, nervy pain, its edges filed to seasonal grief that grows into smoke, that grows into end of summer eulogies. Go back to the dream of spring, to the haunting of winter, a winter that breaks the Carpathian heart. What I love about Helicon West, y'all, is the heart of it, and you are all the heart of it, whole and unbroken. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Star. That was a lovely recap. We should make a trend of that. That was great. So with that, we will conclude. We do want to do a quick plug for our next event on the 9th of April. Millie Tullis will be reading from These Saints Are Stones, and it's going to be great. Please come. We'll have open mic afterwards. But yeah, that will conclude our event. Thank you so much, guys.